Alright, how we doing, folks? Your boy Marcus18205, the numbers after the name. Got us a little Resident Evil 7 demo right here, man. So I was away for E3. I didn't get a chance to see it when it actually happened. I actually just watched earlier today the Sony press conference. I'd heard about it, you know. Unfortunately, I kind of wanted to watch them before, before I actually read about them, but I did avoid the spoilers while I was away, but once I got back, I just logged on, and I was like, oh, and I also checked, too, because I wanted to see if stuff were limited. I think this one's a limited, but I knew the Halo Wars beta, which I'm going to put some footage up next week, was limited, so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on that kind of stuff. But I watched it earlier today, man. Hell of a Sony press conference, man. Wow, top to bottom. Dang, all right. They just came out throwing punches. I thought some of the announcements kind of felt. I thought the end was kind of a little bit. It was like, hey, we'll show you a little bit more of things going. All right, bye. But having said that, that's my kind of E3 press conference. I really don't want to see people. I don't want to talk about it, unless it's Kojima. Even that though, man, showing that game that early on. I mean, he doesn't have an engine yet for the game, but. It's there. That's the kind of stuff you can do with Kojima. They're flaunting their muscles, and rightfully so. And I think it's a good thing that they didn't show the Neo or anything. Just keep your mouth shut about that. I don't think any of those are really a good idea. Either the Neo, the Scorpio, if it's that much powerful, maybe. But even having said that, it's a tough pill for me to swallow. I still don't really know, and I really want to talk about Resident Evil here, but I still really don't know how I feel about the Scorpio. Initially, I don't really like the idea. I'm good with my Xbox One. I'd be cool with this thing for another 6 years, easy. I know that technology advances fast, all that jazz, but that's something as a console consumer, that's the kind of the trade you make. In order for me to be able to turn this box and play video games, I know that PCs will be more advanced 6 years from now. I'm cool with that. I don't need this other iteration. Having said that, though, if it's that much powerful and if it's that huge of a leap, but they'll never promise you that they won't do it again. I just don't want to get into that cycle of where like every 3 or 4 years I'm buying a new Xbox, and it's cool that it's all backwards compatible and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're kind of getting shafted, right? Everything will be built for the Scorpio, and then kind of bump down to the Xbox One. I don't know. A little bit tough with that. And same thing that I think Sony's going to have with Neo when they try to explain, especially if it isn't that big. I think the excuse that Microsoft kind of put out there was like, this thing's a monster. They even said it, and that you gotta be like, all right, well, I guess. But if the Neo's just like, yeah, better for VR and 4K, and 4K, I don't got a 4K TV. I ain't planning on getting no 4K TV. Maybe, I know that's how HD started as well, and blah blah blah. But we'll see. I imagine the next TV I purchase will be a 4K TV, but I just don't know when I'm gonna purchase that. Unless my TV stops working, don't really have an interest in purchasing another TV. Maybe I move though. Maybe you get a bigger place, bigger whatever. I don't know. Something along those lines. Anyway. Resident Evil 7, man. Shows all hell doesn't look like any Resident Evil I know, man. First off, it's first person. I played through it, and then I sat there, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I think it feels really good. I really liked it. I was like, what's different with this and the Resident Evil games from before? And I was like, how about everything is different? The first person aspect, horror. Horror is back in it. It's scary. This isn't Resident Evil 5. Now, we didn't get presented with any action or anything. Apparently, there's an actor you can find in the demo. I haven't really found it. And you can kind of get a feel, I guess, for combat in it. But you imagine there's going to be guns and stuff like that. I'd be interested to see how it plays in terms of first person. This is a cool little setting right here in terms of the flashback that you have. You kind of go through the house. You have a flashback to before the house. And then you go through the house again, knowing what you learned from the flashback, which is actually you, like, a video camera kind of roll, whatever, and you're watching it through. Really dope, very well done, and it kind of makes you feel like, all right, cool, there could be some good ideas here. Very curious about the length of this kind of game. Is it going to be a long game? Is it going to be a short game? It's coming out in January. It's kind of like a Fallout 4 kind of drop where it's like, hey, didn't know this game existed. Coming out in a few months. So it's going to be very interesting. That fully compatible with VR if you're into that. I'm not going to get a VR. I could do a video talking about VR in the future, but I'm not really that interested in it, honestly. I understand it's the future and all that jazz, but I kind of don't really like the idea of putting two screens right to my face like that. Now, I'm more than willing. I haven't tried it either, though, and I'm looking forward to trying it, and I'm more than willing to change that position if I am wowed by it. But in terms of my lifestyle, where I spend a lot of my job either at a computer, or even when I do my shows and stuff, computers are there. Like I'm looking at a screen at some point, or a TV screen, or even just the radio monitors. I'm looking at screens so much, I don't want to come home and just plastered 2 big screens, and I really enjoy the play with my TV far away. I really like to protect my eyes that kind of way. But I understand the immersion of it, and I understand that it's an option. I think it's a great option. I think it'll be interesting for me to see games that are either built for VR or games that are compatible with both. Is Resident Evil 7 going to be better because it's on VR, or is it going to be hampered because it's on VR? Is kind of a question I got. Will we see stuff that we didn't see specifically made kind of with VR in mind, or is it going to be, hey, this is a really good game and it works very well for both? I think it's going to be more the latter. It's going to be a good game and it works well for both. I hope, though, that we aren't taking things out. That's why I mentioned length. I hope we're not taking things out to improve, because you need a certain frame rate and visual fidelity for VR. I hope we're not taking things out in terms of length or story content at the expense of just, hey, we need to have this run on VR. Maybe the game would be better if it was 10 hours with this storyline, but we got to cut it to 2 hours. I don't do VR experiences. That's not something I'm interested in, especially in my Resident Evil. Dope ass demo though. Deuces.